you play football, you play basketball or whatever, but you can't play fighting. It's a gladiator sport. All of us were so indoctrinated in violence. You know what I'm saying? Like when we was getting beat on as kids, we'd be out there bullying other kids. My name is Walter McCord. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, the Bluff in particular. I'm #1 in the U.S. for Waco, USA, and I've been kickboxing for about 7 years. But like I've always been like real scrappy and stuff. And I think that's because I had to. You know what I'm saying? It was me. I was a middle child. I had a little brother, and my older sister. My older sister was real good at fighting too. Like she could hit for real. Like she was always out there fighting in the streets and stuff. And I'd be kind of right there with her and stuff, making sure nothing would happen to her.
Tell me about growing up in the Bluff. How was that experience when you look back?
The main thing you could say when it came to growing up in the neighborhood was there's a lot of turmoil. Talking about the inside turmoil, like you have what's going on like in houses, right? So what's going on in like your own house, whether that be like abuse from parents or parents on drugs, they're alcoholic. Then the outside turmoil, you have like the drugs and then the violence with the guns circling in and out of the Bluff. So the Bluff is connected to a huge highway. You know what I'm saying? I believe it's Donnelly Howell, like traveling through there. We're not very far from the Dome and stuff like that, or Mercedes-Benz, and like a lot of traffic comes in and out, especially like with the drugs and stuff. And so like that created a lot of problems for us. You know what I'm saying? That like people were ODing like every day.
When you're in an environment like that, what are you doing to escape it at that time? What were you doing?
I think like as a kid, you know, because like my options were so limited being poor already as it is. I think a lot of it came down to just having a solid friend group. You know, I had Evan and Isaac and I had a couple other guys who like I always just stuck around. You know what I'm saying? I think Evan's family played like the biggest role in keeping people out of the street, especially me, because the mom and dad, Mr. Keith and Miss Misha, were big on just welcoming kids into their home. Like we've all seen like, you know, our fair share of people like get killed in the hood, you know, whether it be connected to drugs or whatever the case might be, gang violence. But I guess like the one that really like stuck home to me and that really mattered was my young homie Day Day. So like we was like brothers growing up, you know what I'm saying? Like when I first met Day Day, I think he was like 7 or 8 and I was like maybe 10. So I was a little bit older than Day Day. So I would never say like he looked up to us like a big brother, you know, me and Evan or anything like that, but we were definitely like family to him. You know, so I spent the night over his house a bunch of times. He used to spend the night over my house. You know, we went to the same school, you know what I'm saying? And he was very important, but eventually, you know, as we got older, you know, I went one way, he went one way. And so like I said, like I was trying to get up out of my situation in a positive way. And unfortunately, you know, Day went the other way. You know, the roles could have been reversed, you know what I'm saying? And one day, you know, I get a call. I think I was in 9th grade, getting ready to go to the 10th grade in the summer of 2015. And I heard he got like shot like 13 times. When I went to his funeral and, you know, just saw his body, it was all bloated and dark and brown. You know what I'm saying? He didn't even look recognizable. And I was just sitting there like, damn, like this is more of a reason for me just get the fuck on. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing that did connect me and Day Day was the fact that we were both so angry growing up. You know what I'm saying? I was angry because of all the prejudice I dealt with and also being poor all the time and stuff like that. And he was also angry because of the abuse he experienced in his house. And also, you know what I'm saying, just being in the Bluff, being in the neighborhood like the Bluff, man. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a light-skinned kid, you know, he get picked on for being light-skinned, you know how that go. You know what I'm saying? I got picked on for being mixed. You know, so that's a lot of the reason we were so angry and a lot of the reason we connected in the first place. And so, unfortunately, Day took the gang route and, you know, that shit didn't work out for him. You know what I'm saying? It don't work out for nobody, but, you know, it really didn't work out for him. Getting killed in the manner that he got killed in. You know what I'm saying? So that was really like a big wake-up call. And I think I actually joined the gym like 6 months to a year right after he got killed. There I had a mentor at the time who was kind of helping me with school, tutoring me and stuff like that. And also trying to like, you know, just keep me on the right path or whatever. And he ended up taking me up there to do like a class, you know what I'm saying? So at first it was just like a one-off thing where like I didn't know if I was gonna keep doing it or not, but of course, like, you know, I fell in love with it.
Now, when you were younger, were you fighting at all?
That was like a culture, you know what I'm saying? Fighting. So I feel like you had to know how to fight, you know what I'm saying? Like just to even deal with the kids like around the hood, because like, you know, all of us were so indoctrinated in violence. You know what I'm saying? Like whether we was getting beat on as kids, would be out there bullying other kids, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case might be. Me being mixed and stuff like that, like definitely attracted a lot of unwanted, like violent altercations and stuff that I dealt with. Most of the fights I think I got into growing up was just simply because like I looked different. I was one exotic looking thing around the hood. Like nobody ever seen nothing that looked like me. Like I'm talking like a black man, but at the same time I don't necessarily look like the traditional one.
How much do you think that impacted your life in terms of what experiences you were going to encounter?
Right. I think it really made me very I guess a little self-conscious growing up, you know what I'm saying? I guess I kept my hair real short for a long time because in the fights and stuff people be pulling on it and shit like that. And I guess like it also gave me a lot of animosity towards the black community growing up because I'm like, man, I'm y'all, man, I'm one of you. You know what I'm saying? Except you don't treat me like that because like my hair might be slicker than yours. I just think a lot of it has to do with ignorance on both sides, right? You know, black people as a whole, not even just the ones in the hood, are just seen as like violent. And I think with the black community, because like none of us are really like too indoctrinated on anybody else's culture but our own. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't even say like they look at Indian people any particular type of way because they don't really seek out the culture. My mom black, but my dad is Indian.
What did she tell you in terms of how to process your ethnicity?
I mean, we had like a couple talk about it growing up, but it was never nothing in depth because my mom was really that type of parent. Like the couple things that she just said was just never let nobody pick on you. You know, never feel like you're less than the next man just because you have something that they might want or envious of. You know what I'm saying? So like that, I guess you could say that stuck with me, but she wasn't really too big on, she wasn't really in our lives like that growing up. So she wasn't really a stature of like, you know, warmth or comfort for me.
Being a fight wife is not easy. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and it's a lot more than like any other sport, I would think. You know, I think when it comes to other sports like basketball, football, soccer, tennis, they have like a lot of backing. You have a team, you have coaches, you have sponsors, you have all of this money that's poured into your sport. Whereas like fighting, it takes a lot more to get to that level. I do have to cook certain things when it comes to him. It's a whole ordeal around it, even like grocery shopping, like making sure we have fresh fruits and vegetables and things like that in the house. Like it actually takes a lot of planning.
When you eventually start having your own children, they will ultimately be, because your girlfriend is Indian, and you being Indian as well and black, they're gonna be different too. What would you tell your kids?
Never let anybody take you out of your element and let you feel like you're an alien. You know what I'm saying? When at the end of the day, you're just the same as them. You're just a kid going to school. You're just a kid going to the playground. You know what I'm saying? I would definitely instruct them on how to move like as a mixed male or female, and I would let them know that like, yeah, you're gonna be different, and yeah, it's okay for people to be curious and for people to ask questions and stuff like that, but let them know to respect you at the same time and respect you as a human being above all.
Like I said, being a fight wife is hard, but being an Indian woman and dating a black man is much, much, much harder. Like I feel like I'm facing a prejudice now. Like I'm facing, but like from my own family. My own family is judging me for dating a black man, and it's like they don't accept him. And I think out of their mouths, like I have even heard once, like, oh, like we don't want mixed kids running around here. And so it's like every day, like when I like talk to my parents about Walter, it's like, I think I have so much anxiety about it because like, even though like, if I say like, hey, like if I ask my parents if Walter can come over, like they're gonna say yes, but they don't want to. I think this does make Walter and I's relationship stronger because it's like me and him, you know, like it's us against literally everybody else. Like if I can stand up to my own family, my own parents for you, like, and I love them with all of my heart, like I could stand up to anybody for you. One of the things that we want to instill in our kids is that like you don't have to be a fighter and you don't have to get in there and make a life out of fighting, but learn from like the discipline. Sometimes things are hard. I mean, going to school to become a lawyer, that's also hard. Yeah, you're not taking a physical beating, but that mental beating, it's still something that you're not going to want to wake up every single day and do. You're not always going to have support. You going to school and studying, like you're still alone in doing that. Your teachers will say, learn, they'll tell you to study, but it's ultimately on you to have that strength, to have that discipline and that determination to be something great. They'll see that a lot when watching their father train day in and day out, like day after day, year after year, week after week, seeing his body take those beatings and knowing that he does this not because he likes it. I mean, I'm sure he loves it to some degree, but really because he wants to take care of his family. He does it for us.
When you step into the ring, are you having that on your conscience too, of representing Black people, or how do you look at that?
Man, when I step in the ring, I would think like more like, I represent like a Black community, I guess you could say, like by race. You know what I'm saying? Or I represent an Indian community by race or ethnicity. But like I would say like I'm more representing like my family, my intermediate family. Like I don't think about anybody else but who I see and deal with on a daily basis, who support me.
It's so dangerous. It's so dangerous no matter how hard you work and how much time and effort you put into it. Like a hit is still a hit. And even if like he, gets hit and doesn't get knocked down, like he still gets hit. Like he can still get cut. He can still get injured at any point. And it's like, damn, like that's my boo. Like,
what do you think your mentality was so that you wouldn't become a victim of your own environment?
Right. I think my mentality was always, I'm going to make it. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though it felt like I wasn't, even though it felt like it was impossible, you know what I'm saying? Being in that neighborhood, I was always positively thinking like, I'm going to get out some way to get out of my specific predicament or situation that I'm in. So it was just always that courage to get up the next day and, keep trying, keep pushing. Because I feel like that's Black culture within itself. It's just trying. You know what I'm saying? Constantly having that unwavering resolve to keep going.